Welcome on United Rock Nations. We are with Doedsadmiral, the frontman from the black metal Norwegian band NORDJEVEL. So I hope you are well, Doedsadmiral. How are you?
Yeah, I'm. During the circumstances, everything is okay.
Oh, yeah, the circumstances are very difficult.
Yeah.
So yes, the same for me. It's okay.
Yeah.
In order to begin this interview, I want to know what is your feeling after 6 years of existence of NORDJEVEL, and with 2 albums and a second EP. The next month, the 7th. So, what's your feeling?
Yeah, the feeling is good. We have ironically we haven't really existed only for 6 years, because this was normally a band that was started in 2008, I think. But I actually started the band in 2008 with people from the local scene here in Askim, and it didn't really work out and ended up, or it just didn't fit what we wanted to do. So I just put the band to rest, and in 2015, I started to get Fredrik on board from Marduk, and then afterwards I got Nord on guitars, and then it was so it's a little bit strange because it feels like the band existed for a long time, but we weren't really an active band until 2015. But the feeling is good. Everything went fast. We had a lot of tours. We have 2 albums, and with the band it feels good.
And it's very interesting what you say, because my second question is about that. I want to know, how could you explain this fast and solid recognition from NORDJEVEL in 2 albums, in 2 EP? I could say you are a masterpiece in black metal Norwegian. So could you explain this situation?
Yeah, I think our first album had a lot to say, and I personally I feel that the biggest thing about that album is that we just had a plan to make a black metal album that we were 100% satisfied with ourselves, and we didn't want to really care about what people or other people said. We just wanted to make a very spontaneous album that felt good there and then. And I think that is a little bit what we achieved, is that we didn't really, we never said to ourselves, we need to sound like this or this or this. We just make music and we make it work, so we are satisfied. And I think the spontaneous feeling or the fresh feeling, even though it sounded like the 90s or the late 2000s, I didn't really care about. It was just about, what do we want to experience ourselves? And I think the freshness of that album shocked a little bit people, because we came a little bit out of the blue. Nobody really knew there was a band who was called this, and we just released the album. And I think my feeling was a little bit that it had a little bit shock effect. People were a little bit caught off guard because they didn't really hear about the album or these kinds of things. And I think that's that's very important with NORDJEVEL, and what I try to keep it as is that it needs to be spontaneous. We don't need to overthink the music. I don't want to put any limitations to the band. We can do whatever style of music we want to do. And I think that's a little bit, I don't know, it's hard to say because I didn't really experience any albums firsthand myself. So I don't really know how people feel when they hear it for the first time, because I work with it all the time and then you don't get a fresh view. But I would say this, it's spontaneous.
Okay.
It's there and done.
With NORDJEVEL, you are very prolific since the beginning of NORDJEVEL. Could you explain to us what is your inspiration in order to make all this stuff?
We work a little bit straight, maybe not strange, but I always write the albums and the lyrics. No, not the albums, but the lyrics. I always finish everything with the lyrics for a new NORDJEVEL album. And then I also always give it the album a title. And when I'm finished with the lyrics and the title, I always send it to the guys or the people in the band who writes the music, so that they can read my vision through my words, and to create the music after my words. How do they experience it? And that is a little bit how we go a little bit maybe backwards, but it works really well. And I have a lot of people that I work with that understands somehow my vision. And so far, it just works very well, that they write the music after they hear the whole concept and feeling of the album that we are working on.
So this is your lyrics and the words who inspired the music.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Usually this is the music who inspired the lyrics. So yes, it's very, very interesting. So yes, as work. There is a band of US death metal do like you. It's Nile. Yes, Nile do the lyrics before the music.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
So about this new EP, so this new EP released the 7th of May, so in a couple of weeks, called Fenriir. Fenriir is the monstrous wolf of Norse mythology.
Yeah.
So could you explain to us, French people, and maybe other people who listen to this interview, why this choice and what's about this mythology?
We had with the track Fenriir. This track was actually originally written for Necrogenesis, our previous album, but it sounded very, very different because this was a track that actually Valla and Nord wrote together. And Noor left the band, and me and Valla always discussed that the riffs that he wrote for that track was really, really good. And we were always a little bit discussing to finish the track without Nord's riffs. And yeah, we decided that, okay, we write new riffs that fits with what Valla wrote. And it ended up being, I would say, I instantly got the feeling that this is not a very bloody track. It's a little bit more back to the roots that was our first album.
Yes.
And Fenriir, the lyrics was actually a poem that I had always, a Norwegian poem, which I always very loved. And I just got the instant feeling when Valla sent me the track finished that this needs to be that poem. It didn't really fit to our next album. And it was always lying there like, what do we do with it? Because we all thought it was a really, really good track. We also had the third track on the EP, which was called Rovdyr, which was always a little bit lingering in between. And when the pandemic hit, I made the suggestion we release those two tracks on the EP. We also introduced a new track, and we made a cover with Possessed and the live track. And I just thought it's a good thing to show. I felt that these three tracks fitted very well in the start of NORDJEVEL, and also what NORDJEVEL is now and what is to come. I felt it was a perfect blend of old and new NORDJEVEL, and also, honestly, to confuse people what to expect.
So, about what you say, because that's the next question. This EP, yes, the beginning of NORDJEVEL and what NORDJEVEL is now.
Yeah.
Could you explain to us, maybe I think it's difficult, but could you explain to us the evolution of the band since the beginning and now with this EP and the next album? Because I know you have got maybe a next album at the end of the year.
Yeah. The first album of NORDJEVEL, in my opinion, was very, very epic, very Norwegian sounding somehow, although it was also extreme. And it was very much based upon the Norwegian themes of legends, sagas, the old devil worship in the old days. And then when we started to make the second album, we also had the EP Krigsmakt in between, where we were dealing a little bit more about war and stuff. And then when the second album was supposed to be started to write, I already wrote the album, and I directly just had a feeling that this is a more English-based album. It's a more serious album. It's a much more bloody album. It didn't really focus so much on the Norwegian, Nordic folklore thing that the first album did. And there again, we just spontaneously went with the feeling that the album had, and Necrogenesis ended up being a completely different album than the first one. And that is actually what I like, because my personal bands that I really, really like, if you look at Morbid Angel, you never know what to expect. And that is what I think is exciting, because the bands that always create again and again and again and again, and they limit themselves to it should sound like this, I don't really, then you get uninspired. And Necrogenesis was, like a lot of people said, it was more death metal oriented. And we liked the music, and we thought the lyrics are black metal, and I had to go and do the vocals to make it sound like black metal, and that was a cool challenge for me. And the same with the next album that we are writing on, because Gnawing the Bones, I know that a lot of people would think, okay, this is just a continuation of Necrogenesis, but this is a simple, accessible track that fits to Necrogenesis, but the new material is much more Yeah, I wouldn't say Gnawing the Bones is not defining our next album.
Okay.
It's varied, it's aggressive, it's epic, it's also exploring. We're trying new stuff on it.
Okay. Yeah, so we try to put in this new album the experience of your two first albums, the EP, and what you want to say with epic, bloody, scary,
Yeah.
etc. in the new album. So I think it will be certainly a very good surprise.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will put on the new album and say, yeah, but this is what we expected.
Okay.
Because
About this new album, could we have the title now, or maybe it's too soon?
no, actually, it's not a problem because before the corona came last year, we actually announced the title of the new album because we were supposed to go in the studio in April last year, first time. And then the pandemic hit, and then we rescheduled for April this year. And still, it's not possible to meet up because Dominator is from Sweden and we are from Norway. So we have postponed the recording of the album to September, but we announced the title of the new album in April last year, and it's called Gnavhøl. It's a Norwegian word that I have put together.
Okay. And do you know now when this new album could be released or not?
I think I spoke with our label, and the plan for the album, since it's been delayed a lot of times and we were recorded in September, I think I would guess April 2022.
Okay.
Next year.
Okay. Maybe it's perfect because the pandemic will also come down, and maybe you could be on stage in order to promote the album and to play it.
Yeah, and that's also important that we are able to tour on the album. That's why it's postponed all the time.
About the EP, so 3 songs, and the cover of Possessed and the live song from the first album. So why the choice, this song of Possessed and this song of the first album in order to put it in this new EP?
Yeah. The cover of Possessed was never really a choice with the band because I just decided and everybody agreed. We were on tour with Possessed. What is it? Last year? No. Yeah.
Oh, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah. Yes, 2 years ago.
In Paris, yes, 2 years ago.
And we traveled with Jeff. I have always been personally a big fan of Possessed. They were the early founders of especially death metal, but they also influenced black metal very, very much. And when we were on tour with them, I just gained so much more extra respect for Possessed and for Jeff about what he sacrifices to do, what he really wants to do. I had a lot of conversations with him about what he was feeling, what he believed in and everything. And I was really mesmerized by all of this. And when we decided to do a cover for the EP, I just said to the guys, we need to honor Possessed. And I didn't want to make a copy of the album or the song. So we decided to do it our own way in honor of Possessed. And the funny thing is that when we recorded the cover and it was mastered and mixed, we sent the cover to all the guys in Possessed. And yeah, like they said, they thought it was a killer cover because we didn't just try to play it exactly like them, but we honored them in our own way with NORDJEVEL, and we didn't make it 100% the same, but you still hear which song it is. And with the Roer and Roer, we played Brutal Assault in 2019, I think. And it was an extreme experience personally and in every sense. The band was a little bit shaky and stressed with everything that was going on at that time. And the energy that we all felt this live track had in Brutal Assault was for us a little bit magical. And that's why we chose this one, because the energy was so powerful somehow. Okay. As easy as that.
Now there is a new way of live because of the pandemic, so a lot of bands make and do live streaming in order to stay with to keep a link with the people, keep a link with the fans. Do you maybe schedule live streaming in order to keep this link?
We were not really keen on doing that because I feel when NORDJEVEL performs live with an audience, we also feed off the energy of our audience, and the audience feed off our energy. And I think we have a little bit ended up with without the interaction of audience, we don't really feel. I don't know. I don't want to risk it somehow. I don't want to risk it because I feed off the energy of a live gig and with people and the energy of how people feel and everything. And to just stand on a stage without people doesn't really fit the brutality of NORDJEVEL live. You need the interactions. You need to feel the hate and the extremity of everything. And without an audience, I think all of us feel that, will we be able to get the same passion? And we decided we don't think that will work.
Okay. So we have to wait for 202 and 2 in order to see you live.
Yeah.
My last question is more general question. It's about black metal, because we can now hear a lot of kind of black metal. You, NORDJEVEL, you choose to stay in, I think, the second wave of black metal, very cold, very aggressive, very scary, very brutal. So what do you think about this new wave of black metal, more melancholic, more depressive? For me, I found it very boring, but what is your feeling?
I feel it's a little bit hard to say because I have never really put black metal into categories within black metal. For me, black metal is black metal. I look around my music room now and to see what I actually appreciate. And for me, black metal is all about from Bursum, which is melancholic and repetitive, and then you go to the extreme, like when you have with, for example, one of my favorite black metal bands. I don't really listen a lot to black metal myself, But one of my favorite bands is Funeral Mist.
Oh yeah.
And Bursum, is all about the feeling and repetitive, and it just goes again and again. So it's a little bit trance-like. And then you have like Funeral Mist with Salvation, which is chaos and violence. And those two bands are probably my favorite bands. And there you have it. It's I think it's all about feeling and all about taste, what you appreciate yourself. I can appreciate melancholic things, but ironically, when I have melancholic things I appreciate, I prefer to choose not black metal. Okay. Then it's rock or even classical or musicals, because I feel those are more melancholic. But if I want violence in music, I would always choose Funeral Mist.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit from 0 to 100. It's for me, it's about feeling. If I feel something, if I feel anger or hate or stress or energy or sadness or even happiness, then I think the music is good. It needs to make me feel something. Mm.
Okay, I can understand. Thank you for your answer. Thank you very much. So thank you for your time. So the new EP, Fenriir, will be out so the 7th of May. And thank you very much, Doedsadmiral, for this question. And big success with this new EP. And hope to could listen to this new album. So next year, maybe in.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.